Were you on that podcast?
Yeah, it was Sam. Yeah, that was.
That's what I thought. I saw he came out with a podcast, and I'm pretty sure it's something Nephilim, and I recognized the face, and it's one of those things where you mean to click on it later, and you never get around to clicking on it. And then last week, I saw Vicky Joy Anderson post a picture of your book that she had gotten, and then, ironically enough, I believe it was Joel, my social media manager, who brought you up, and I looked at you. I was like, man, I gotta talk to this guy. And so here we are. I didn't expect to be talking to you so quickly, but thanks for coming on the show, man.
No, I mean, it's actually quite serendipitous that this happened so fast, because I actually had probably Alexandra booked for Wednesday on my own podcast. She's been in the game for years and everything, and last minute she had to cancel because of a family emergency. And then the next day, you messaged me saying, I want you on the podcast. And you know what? Wednesday has just opened up, and I can only do Wednesdays and Sunday evenings, and I'm booked up until like the end of August now for every Wednesday and Sunday. So you've kind of actually, this just worked out perfectly.
Yeah. Perfect. I think that's what it was too, because you said that. That's what you said. I Wednesday just opened up, and I'm booked up through August, and I was like, dang it, that sounds like me. Let me just get on this guy now. Let me get on it now while it's hot.
Yeah.
So here we are. So listen, man, I ordered your book, and it just came today, and emergency happened at the house, and I had to come in here to do the interview. I was planning on doing the interview at the house, but it turns out my family wasn't leaving, and so I had to come in here, and works out best for the show, I'd say. But I forgot the book at the house. I really wanted to have the book to hold up and say to the people, see, I have it too. But you wrote a book called The Nephilim Looked Like Clowns, right? Or They Look Like Clowns.
Yeah, the Nephilim looked like clowns, that's right. The book is actually coming at the end of 8 years worth of research. I started a series in 2016 on YouTube called The Nephilim Look Like Clowns. And we'll get into the story of how that happened as we go on. But over those 8 years, I've created a 44-episode video series dedicated to fleshing out this idea. And if I have to give you the quick elevator pitch now for what it is, it's that what we call a clown from a Western standpoint is actually a cult symbol purposefully crafted to be a caricature of the Nephilim and Nephilim features. And it's used specifically as a tool within the occult to channel the spirits of the Nephilim. And this is actually the same practice which is used by ancestor spirit worship cultures found all over the earth, who also dress in extremely similar features to what we would call clownish here in the West. But when they wear that costume, they are wearing it with the full intention to channel the spirits of what they call their ancestors. But they're not talking about grandma or granddad. They're talking about the builders of their civilization, the ancient Nephilim kings and rulers of the antediluvian past. And basically what seems to have happened is inspiration's been taken from these other cultures and representations of the Nephilim within other cultures, which again we'll get into. And Freemasons, quite literally, and the Shriners have invented what we call a clown. And we're not supposed to know what this really means. It's an occult symbol. And this is certainly no laughing matter, which is the tagline of my book. This goes way darker and deeper than you would like to think on the surface. I know what it sounds like when I say the Nephilim look like clowns. I'm not insane, but you'll realize this is actually a lot more serious than it sounds. Yeah.
No, listen. Anytime we're talking about the Nephilim, you have my ears and attention, and. So the Nephilim look like clowns. You kind of just dumped a loaded chamber on us here, and I'm very interested into getting into this. But some of the things you just said, I find pretty interesting because it seems like you're suggesting that one, like when we see in Hollywood, which I'm assuming you probably looked at Hollywood at some point through this research. But when you see movies in Hollywood, you see that like more occulty scenes in movies. They often wear masks and during rituals, assuming there's a connection there. I never heard that the Freemasons invented clowns, and so it seems like a lot of this, what your research has led you to, is that this is not random. Because I sat down today thinking that you stumbled across this, and it just so happens that the Nephilim look like clowns. But what you're saying is they created clowns to look like the Nephilim.
Yes, and my wife has told me I'm lying to people for not calling the book that. Clowns look like Nephilim. Yes, that's the truth. But the Nephilim look like clowns. Rules off the tongue a bit nicer, I think.
Absolutely. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's get into how this all started unfolding for you, man, because I find this very interesting. And just to let you know and the audience know, I have a strong feeling that you're going to be back on the show because when I did get the book today, it was probably, it was about as